Okay, we're live. Whenever you're ready, Mayor.
Shall we say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Makes that. Yeah, that was hard.
Roll call, am I correct? We have everybody present but Councilman Demick.
Correct. He notified he was running late from a dentist appointment.
Okay, so noted. We do have a quorum. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Been moved to approve the agenda. Was that Councilman Steller?
Yes.
Can I have a second to approve the agenda?
I'll second.
Been seconded by Councilman Harkey to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion approved, all in the affirmative. Any communication from citizens?
Yep, just come to the podium.
Hello, my name's Helen Wilson. I'm with the Wind River Visitors Council. As you probably know, we were trying to get on the agenda for tonight. We thought we were until yesterday. And I'm just wanted to make sure that we can be on the agenda next time because our budget is needs to be approved by everybody by the end of the month.
I believe, Helen, I notified you that you are scheduled to be on the next meeting.
I'm just confirming because we thought we were tonight. So, so I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other communications from the citizens?
None in the audience.
None being consent agenda approval of minutes of May 23rd, 2023, and approval of the bills May 24th, 2023 through June 13th, 2023. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Been moved by
Second.
Councilman Stetler to approve the minutes, second by Councilman Zant. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? None being, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. I believe next would be ordinance fiscal year 2024 budget, second reading.
Guess I'll substitute for the clerk. Not sure if she's got audio, but ordinance FY 2024 second reading, Town of Shoshoni budget as previously entered into the record.
Can I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 2024 budget, second reading?
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Hardkey. Any further discussion?
Yeah, so we got to do 3 readings, right? And on the 3rd reading, then we're done.
Mhm.
So I would like to request that we do one more workshop to just kind of sit down right before our final reading. Just as a thought, if it would fit in everyone's schedule, I think it might not be a bad idea.
I agree, Councilman.
Anything specifically we want to discuss?
No, I think it's all good, but I just thought if we sat down and just thumbed through it together real quick before the final approval, it might be. I mean, I think I didn't find anything out of order. I thought everything was good. But it doesn't cost the town nothing to.
No.
Do a workshop. And make it just sit down and go through it, I know.
I guess I'm more asking just for like a format or anything, if there's something specific that we need to make sure we have prepared, other than just kind of willy-nilly or just going through just.
Like when we did the other ones, we just kind of sat down and, all right, this is this department.
Mhm.
Well, this is kind of what we're doing. This is our plans, what we did, and just kind of as a group, just, okay, yeah, that's cool. And just.
So
right
you
through.
would like me to re-update those reflective of the changes we made since that initial was. And
Well, if we had like,
Same
yeah,
format.
last year versus this year, the final.
well, we have that here.
Right. I just said if we sat down as a group,
Yeah. I was
And
making
just-
sure. Yeah.
kind of walk through it real quick. I think everything looks good to me and I don't see any
I think-
issue, but it's serious business.
Absolutely. I just want
I
to make sure
think-
that
Yeah, I think we did make a couple changes on the first, when we did our first reading from the workshops.
We did.
and that's what I was asking, is that I can update that on that same template that we did before. That's what I was asking. You want that same format that we started the workshops with, not,
I think we just have
Excellent.
like last year versus this year like we've gone, but if we, rather than, okay, and because we've got the whole meeting to do right now. It may be a huge waste of time, but it's just an hour.
Yeah.
I like your idea. But my thought went. We ought to look and say, based upon this budget, how are we obtaining our long-term planning? So what have we accomplished with this budget? What will we accomplish with this budget on our long-term planning for next 20 years?
Right,
And say, what have we accomplished so far? And what's the next step to go? When we look at our budget, say, okay, based on our plan for 20 years from now, what should we look at in this budget to get to that goal?
right.
I think that's something I like the idea that we said, look at the budget again, let's say, how is it helping us obtain our goals?
And if we did that in a workshop rather than mucking up the whole regular meeting
Yes,
or not mucking it, bogging it down.
I know, I agree with you completely.
And it'll be on YouTube, so anybody can watch it at any time too. So. That was
Yeah,
just-
Yeah, I think it's good. I don't believe any time it's good to rush into budgets. Yeah, they should. We should do our due diligence. I agree. Yeah, if Chris was asking, I think anything particular, because he would make sure he
I'm
had
asking-
it prepared.
Yeah, I'm asking for a format. It's great to say we'll do a workshop, but then do a workshop on what? If I don't have guidance to what to put into it, we're just gonna sit there and spin wheels and waste time.
Right, so
That's what I was getting at.
the way we had it lined out, I just thought maybe just one more time, if we just sat down. Like the way you have it is great, but with us just sitting down, just have it just.
Well, there's two formats, because the one that we first worked on, the workshop one, that one has different numbers on there, because this is by statute, how it has to be organized. And this shows, last year's budget actual, this year's budget up through March, and then what our next year's we're going into is going to be.
What it
That
is.
previous format that I had the same numbers, but it was put together in a different way that kind of flowed by department. And
That's
that's what I was asking. Do you want to go over this, or you want me to redo
do
those
the,
numbers?
what, I don't want to add to your work.
No,
Yes,
it's
that's
not
what I want, but
It's just making the modifications that we've made since we started this
Right.
process, putting it back into that template and then spitting it back
well, I
out. So-
kind of meant that and right until the point where I was asking you to do more work, so. that's
It's-
when I backed-
It'll take me 5 minutes to put the numbers
Okay,
in.
well, that would be really helpful.
I just want to make sure that if we're gonna have a workshop, that you have the material that is gonna be useful, then not all come and then try and generate it while you're here to waste anyone's time. That's what I was trying to get, to make sure I have everything prepared.
So what do you think about tying in with our strategic planning?
I think that one meeting is gonna be really difficult to do, especially a 20-year plan.
Well, we can say what have we accomplished,
But I,
how does this budget go to that plan?
well, what I think. What you're referring to is gonna go more onto this side, the budget message side. That maybe we can revamp that and put and integrate those aspects into the budget message to incorporate
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
And so you're more focused on this part. As far as planning wise, how this integrates into that. And then. Councilman Stetler, so bring those two things together, I think we can do that.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
can get the material together so we can figure out how we want to, maybe rephrase the budget message a little bit. To encapsulate what you're speaking about as far as how. Where we see it in 5 years, what have we done and how this budget help us getting to that point?
That's it. I think that's something that the citizens need to know. What have we done to reach our goals so far?
So we can do that so we can do some better, revamp the messaging on the budget message. And then we can also, while we're doing that,
Run
Go
through
through
that old
stuff.
format.
yeah,
that would be-
and then the final reading will be that. Not that, maybe no changes any, but everybody will be well versed.
We'll have gone through it one more time before it's finalized.
Yeah.
Was all I was,
Yep, nope,
thank you.
with that.
So when do you want to do this, boss?
I. I'm,
I'm gonna go with next Tuesday.
we did, well, we did it before the meeting. Was that long enough? If we just meet at 6?
The problem with that is if we're gonna make any changes, especially the budget, I'm gonna have time to remodify everything, because that would be the third final reading. And I need to have.
You wouldn't
everything
have to,
prepared.
yes,
So we could do it.
we could just do a work session next Tuesday at this time.
We could do one earlier in the day, but that's gonna be hard for everybody to make it
Not
to.
me.
We could do it,
It won't be hard for me to be impossible.
I'm fine with the Friday before or even Monday. Before the meeting. And that's just me personally. I mean, I'm always here, but
So you're looking at the 20th or the 23rd.
yeah,
Either one's open for me right now.
there's no holidays, there's no events or anything going on there.
Pretty tied up on the 22nd. The 20th would be a lot better. For me personally, the 20th would be best.
6 o'clock,
30,
6:30.
if the mayor orders it.
I think he's just watching us right now. I'm not sure he's even listening.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I know you are.
Yeah.
Um,
No, well, that'll work for me. I don't think don't have my calendar in front of me, but I don't think I have anything going on.
20th. On 7 o'clock, what time is best? for you?
6:30 is fine with me if that works for you
How
guys.
about you, Tammy?
Everyone else.
6:30 works.
And that's next Friday, correct?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday, next Tuesday. Okay, a week from today. Yeah, okay, the 20th. Yeah, correct. Works for me.
All right, we're still in discussion, right?
Yes.
Still in discussion. But anyway, we ought to continue and pass this second reading.
Yes.
And pass this ordinance. And we don't need a motion to set this meeting up, we just do it.
Yeah, I can set the workshop up.
Right, we just do it, so. Any further discussion about approving ordinance at fiscal year 2024 budget second reading? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Do we have any appearances by citizens, presentations?
None in the
I
audience.
won't pass that. My screen's,
Here, I'll help you out. There you go.
Uh, the unfinished new business change orders. Change order number 001 R-1, $3,534. Can I have
So
a
this
motion?
change.
Is that correct?
Yep. Trying to get to it, sorry. There it is. There you go.
What this is we had pedestals. I think, are we talking, I believe this is what this is for, is that correct?
Yes, the in the mechanical room where the boiler aspects or apparatuses were on, there's those large concrete pedestals that they had to remove.
That's with the jackhammer.
Yes.
Was it, if I'm reading their units correctly, LS would be lease. Does that make sense? So then at least the jackhammer.
I can clarify, but
I mean,
think-
that's the only thing I can figure out what it's in the LS.
Or rent.
Back in my youth as a engineer and contractor, LS usually stood for a lump sum.
Okay,
but it could be a rental.
Yeah, it could be.
yeah,
right,
that's,
too.
okay. Okay. That's all I questioned on. You know what the LS meant. Lump sum makes sense.
Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler. Can I have a second? Second by Councilwoman Hartke. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Department head report, Chief, go ahead, please.
All right, so the month of May continued seeing increased calls for service pretty much year over year. We were close to being dead even with 2022, but we've now caught up to 2022 in terms of calls for service. In 2021, we're just below. We're almost double 2020. But if you look at the monthly trajectory, we had a slow January, February because of weather this year, but since the weather has started to improve, we're getting a lot more calls for service and issues around town. Most notably this month, we've had an increase in disorderly conduct, which could be anything from fights, disturbances at people's houses, things of that nature, domestics. So we've had that, as well as multiple deployments with the canine. And I show one listed here officially, but it did result in 3 other seizures of controlled substances from vehicles during the course of the month. And we're continuing to deal with the juvenile issue and the dog issue when it comes to, I would say, control of both around town. I think we've made some headway with the juveniles on 4-wheelers and motorcycles. It's at this point, it's zero tolerance. So if we see them driving, they will be held accountable and up to their motorcycles and four-wheelers towed. So they've all been put on notice for the last couple months, and I hope that this summer will continue to be peaceful in the neighborhoods with four-wheelers and motorcycles, but they are kids and they are bored and they get out and do stuff. So we still will deal with that as it comes.
Received some complaints from people about those dirt bikes,
Yep.
and they would really like to see that cease and desist.
I will say that we've issued 2 citations to juveniles for not having a driver's license, which is one thing that we can do when they drive on roads.
No insurance.
And
That's
that's there's a lot more that we can come to it. That's we're not trying to hammer these kids, but
they come to
each
that.
time it ramps up in severity. So I would say if anyone that's questioned that, that's what we've done. There's been one warning for one that was cited, that next time that they are caught or seen or complained about, and we come in contact with that individual, that we will tow the motorcycle or the four-wheeler. And the last course of action is to hold the parents responsible, which parties to a crime allows us to do. If you allow your kid to drive a motorcycle or four-wheeler on a roadway without a driver's license, you are parties to that crime. So the parents can also be cited. I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do. I'm just saying that this could go a lot more severe. We're trying to just get some cooperation. All we ask is that they walk it out of town and then they can go out in county and ride their bikes legally. That's all we ask.
It's literally right there.
And so I think we've made some improvements, but I think that's still an ongoing issue that we're still dealing with, that we're trying to. The dog issue,
Got to the coyote at 3 o'clock in the morning on 4th Street.
are you communing with nature?
Yeah, my neighbor told me her dog was going nuts.
Coyote.
The coyote was right down the middle of 4th Street, in front of her house.
And yeah. But I will say that the barking issue has decreased to some extent. It's still obviously they're dogs, but it's not as prevalent as it was during the winter time where, I mean, they were howling at the moon. So we are getting some, although you didn't have to worry about it because you don't live that close to the proximity.
I don't hear the dogs.
But,
You hear the coyotes though.
oh, I'm sure. Well, we all hear those, especially on 4th Street.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the end of the police report. We are fully staffed. Traffic continues to increase significantly, and we are addressing that as best we can with what we have. And we've done some scheduling rearranging, so there's times where we have 2 officers on at once, so we're better able to cater to the busier times around town. But it's amazing how much traffic comes through here and then through the side streets.
It's crazy to sit on the front porch and just watch stop after stop after stop after stop.
And then today you have 3 calls for disturbances. So we're definitely seeing a large increase in workload, so. But we will continue to address that issue.
I was just gonna pass that along. I've had some complaints. I guess they were hot rodding up and down First Street. Better part of the night when the flywheelers were trying to sleep. I said, well, you could have called.
We try and catch them, but the problem is when we're in a vehicle and you try and chase a four-wheeler around town, it becomes kind of dangerous
Correct.
because just the nature of us trying to catch up to them. So we try to catch them, and usually we do, but sometimes they get away from us.
I understand kids will be kids and all, but county is right there.
And that's why I said at the beginning of this, the zero tolerance at this point. So,
Thank you though.
And just to let you know, like, there's no insurance, no jail, no offense.
is it now? Thought they made it all civil.
No, it is no insurance, detail, possible jail, that's depending on how prosecutor wants to go after.
Yeah, if someone's speaking, I cannot hear them.
Oh, that was Marshall.
Yeah, Joel, we were just talking about the potential repercussions for a no insurance. And one of them is that no insurance, depending on how it's cited, can end up being a possible jailable offense.
Oh, okay.
And the last thing that I guess I need to update the council on is the status of some of the issues in town with garbage / vehicles / trailer houses that were moved into Lotso and dark at night. They were served personally with a letter drafted by the town attorney and cited with specific town ordinances and Wyoming state statute for their violations and the remedies of such. One being that if they do not remedy those actions, that the town can and will take action to remove it at their expense by seizing the assets and selling at auction, if it comes to that. And their time, I believe they have just over a week left to remedy that on their own. And that would be the next thing coming to the council, because obviously with Marshall on exactly what that would look like as far as documents and things like that. But that's the next step if they don't remedy it. So if anyone asks about that issue, I know that was an issue. That is where that stands right now.
Isn't that potentially possible to fine $50 a day for placing a trailer with no permit from the time it was placed?
I'd have to get the exact,
I think that's what it read.
yeah, I'd have to go back and get exactly
Not suggesting, I mean, if they'll remedy the problem, that'd be great.
but that's the route we're going down, where it's gonna start becoming more severe.
I think it says $50 a day from the time it's placed.
That would be more, I believe, a question for Marshall on that one, how that could be applied, but
Yeah, essentially it's gonna come out when you do the sheriff's sale as the fee that would go to.
towards the town, right?
As well as what it costs to do. the cleanup.
But I do believe that after this, there's a couple other areas that will in town that need to be addressed as well in the same type situation. So we are doing what we can to start getting things cleaned up. Trying to do it willfully by the parties. But in the end, something has to be done, and those are the steps we're going to take. I can hit on weeds real quick if you want, Mayor. We threw out some letters for those in violation. I know everybody's in violation right now.
They're growing fast.
But those letters were intended to put people on notice that we're not going to stand by and come into late July, August without addressing the weed situation. So obviously when it's raining every day and it's muddy, you can't weed eat, you can't mow. It's understandable. But those letters were intended to put people on notice that they need to address them when they can. And I did last time I was here in the police report, I said I was going to start enforcing weeds and start putting door hangers. I did not do that yet
Because of the rain.
because of the rain. So again, we're trying to be nice about it, but there comes a point, and now the weather's starting to get a little bit better. So we're gonna go back down that route after those letters. The next step will be the door hangers and then citations, and then the town will clean it up, and then we'll have the landowner pay for it. So we're not gonna have what we had last year with the weeds.
Yeah, I would like to also comment that the town, we've been having trouble cutting our weeds also, so we understand that you know, with all this rain, it is an issue, but the town will get their weeds cleaned up, and we expect our citizens to do the same thing.
That's about all I can think of that people that would, any other issues that you can think of? Or questions for anyone that has any questions of what we're doing or stand? Okay, well, I'm done.
Bob, would you like to talk about, the Wham event?
7.5 hours of sitting for state mandated training.
Are you smarter?
I thought he looked grayer.
Yeah, so I'm glad that part is done. I understand why they did it. I don't know how people who did it, who don't attend most conferences will get, I mean, their hours in, the state could not even answer that right now. Was asked, but others weren't here. They haven't figured that out yet. So that was one part of it. I did go to one pullout session sponsored by Amber Simon Powell. She was from state on community leadership and engagement. And one of the things she suggested is that whenever you have a community booth, is to have a community active like flywheelers or whatever. Have a town booth set up for people to stop by and say, let them gripe, let them give you ideas, and say, we're here to listen. What would you like to have done? And because a lot of times people say, I'm not going to do no survey. Stuff that's thrown in my mailbox is thrown away. But if you're right there in person at a flywheelers event, would be, have a town booth. We have people from town saying, okay, this is what we're doing. This is our budget. Yes, we know there's a pothole in the street. There's a mosquito problem down on the end of the street where I live. There's a big butthole. There are mosquitoes there all the time. Have a town booth at, those type of events. So the community can come and say, this is what we want to see. They said initially you'll get a lot of complaints, more than anything else. But as you continue to do this, people realize that you're here to listen, and it will help community relationships. That was one thing I really she talked about. She talked about evaluating your mission statements. And part of that is, going through the what type of assets do you have, all those are things to get those goals done. That was the best thing about the whole thing, I thought. That's all I have for it. I mean, that was other than sitting around and being trained about ethics and responsibilities and budget. It was a good time.
Wish they'd have updated that before last January when we all went down, then I wouldn't have to do it again.
Well, you only did how many hours?
We did 5.
You did
It was
5.
a long time, yeah.
So you only have another 2.5 hours to go.
Yeah, they can't demand that every elected official makes that meeting.
You're
That's
right.
unfair.
Okay. They talked about one of the states. They passed this law, but there's no teeth in it right now. Basically, the only thing they could do is withhold funds. That's what she said.
That'd be bad.
Yeah.
Can't they just send Tammy to jail or something and?
I thought maybe you would go.
Well, fine, they'll be driving you all up there.
Well, the idea is that, they talk about not letting people vote. They said, you can't do that. You can't take away elected officials' right to vote, basically. Biggest thing the state would have, a whole stick they would have is say, take what, not give your funds to you.
Are they gonna have another one?
They're supposed to figure out how to do it on the computer,
Yeah,
but that hasn't been done yet. My wife's on the cemetery board. And that hasn't even been looked at yet.
All right, because she'd be required to as well.
Anybody who's elected who has public funds.
I should have a track that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's where it's at. That's all I have.
Tammy, what do you have?
I don't got nothing today.
Jake, do you have
Everything's-
anything?
No, sir, everything's been addressed.
First, we all good?
Oh, you are now. You cut out there for a second.
Okay, I was asking if Marshall wanted to add anything, that we're going down the wrong road or right road or anything.
No, I don't have anything other than that. Chris and his crew is keeping me and Skip Hornick pretty busy.
It's not them, it's the drivers.
Yeah, why are you gonna blame the cops?
Yeah. We have peace officers in Shoshoni. But I'll touch on a couple things. We did get a whole lot of good comments about fast lane, that people traveling through up to the WHAM meeting that did stop there. Just a multitude of compliments on that. I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. But anyway, they said good job. There's there again, I took much financial training. I did the 2 meetings that were scheduled there. I guess I have 1 more to go. But yeah, they did say if we did not fulfill what they're demanding we do, they could withhold, all and any taxes. That includes lodging tax, sales tax, our 105 distribution. I mean, all of that if we don't comply. So that they can do to us legally, I guess. But in any event, it was I thought a real good thing that went on up there. So I'm in Sheridan right now. The town clerk and I are been attending this. Well, a lot of people up here for this, multitude of municipalities, private industry, nonprofit organizations. A lot of information to help us reach out and potentially for some of this funding we need to continue to move forward with. But and I'd like to announce that Kathy Soul won the grand prize up there at Wham of the $1,200. You can spend it to go on any vacation, and it's for motels, food, whatever, airplane fare. Kathy Blair, I believe it was 4 years ago, if I remember right, that she won the grand prize also. So, and I believe Councilman Zent walked away with a prize, not what he wanted, but he got a prize. Is that right, Bob?
Yes.
So, Shoshoni, I think we did well. I didn't win anything, but in any event, like we talked about earlier, we'll keep working on the weeds, and I appreciate everybody's in town help. And I know there's people that land business that may have got notifications that then they're working on their weeds, but everybody that was out of compliance, no matter who you were or whatever, everybody got a letter. So, but anyway, appreciate everybody's help with that. tractor show went, I think, real well. We did have the rodeo royalty come to and led they don't call it a parade anymore, but is a tractor drive, I believe. And we were fortunate enough that they came over and we got a call and they offered to do that. And so I got them in touch because we don't put that on, but I got the young lady's royalty from the fair rodeo in contact with the Chamber of Commerce and with the tractor show people, and they were there and they, you know, offered to possibly help us out in the future. Also, if in any other events we have in Shoshoni. So I just sort of passing that on if anybody think, but I believe, but I thought that was real good for them to come up here and do that for Shoshoni. For the rodeo queen, the Shoshoni graduate. And so I thought that was real good. So anybody else have anything else?
I move we adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn, and I do have a second.
Second.
Been moved and second that we adjourn. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion passed. Meeting adjourned at 7:42. Oh.